father took over his shop at age 15. 15 years of age, he was the head of the family because he was the eldest. My grandmother was there and his younger brothers and sisters looked after them. But then from 1942 to 1947, he made that shop, Malhotra Grand Auckland Mart, into one of the largest department stores. We operate in 5 categories.
Okay.
One is the dessert mixes. Second is the bakery and bakery products and ingredients.
Okay.
Third is the pasta and pasta sauces category. Fourth is the sauces and condiments, ketchups and sauces. And fifth is the beverage.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Jayesh. How are you?
I am fine, sir. Sir,
Welcome firstly to Wakefield
thank you, sir.
and to Shraddha.
Thank you, sir.
And I hope you've been comfortable here while I was at the factory. I'm sorry for coming late,
No, sir, not
but
that.
now we'll move straight into it.
Fine, sir. So, before digging into the journey of the Wakefield, will you introduce us to what your background was and how did you came to Bajaj and then you took over the Wakefield
Yeah.
management?
So I did my schooling in Pune, Bishop School, and then I did my my BCom from Neswadia College of Commerce. And I mean, everyone at that time aspired to. The MBA was a very new thing. Remember, at 1979 is when we joined Bajaj. I think there were a total of 10 management schools in the country. 10, not more. There were the 3 IIMs, IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore and Calcutta.
Yes.
There was XLRI in Jamshedpur. There was FMS in Delhi. The symbiosis had just started.
Okay.
And there was one more IMDR, the original management school. And there was Bajaj.
Yes.
Right? So it was, and it's therefore, by that very definition, it was a new science, new
Correct.
art, new whatever, education. And so everyone, especially people who had a commerce background, not so much the science, commerce and arts background, they would prefer to go for that. Having said that, as you know, that there have been more engineers who have joined Bajaj Management School or any other management school than BCom students. Right? So what happened was, I was very excited to do this. So I actually also gave the entrance exam for IIM Ahmedabad. Didn't get through, and Bajaj, and I was just so thrilled when. And just to tell you that I think at that time around 8,000 applicants, 8,000,
Okay.
of which 6,000 were knocked off just on the basis of marks and
Correct.
their undergrad subjects marks. And then the 2,000 would be called for GDs over successive weekends,
Okay.
and there were 14 to a GD discussion.
Oh,
So you can imagine how many they had back to back
correct.
in 2-3 centers in Bombay.
Correct.
And then out of that, then around 50 or 55 were selected, and then out of that there were interviews, personal interviews, and then finally 43. In our batch, it was a class of 43 to start with. Unfortunately, we're down to 37 because 6 have gone to the heavens above. And so that's how it started, and then so I was a bit of a unique guy in the sense that although my specialization was marketing, by the way, that is my MMS certificate.
Yes.
Yes. But I also took finance as an elective.
Okay.
So I did both. I was telling Mr. Mankikar's
Yes.
class. So and the reason why I did that was that in my undergrad I was doing BCom, so we had our factory right here in this and our office. I was looking at the finance part. No, I was a kid, but still
Yes.
I was looking at. So therefore, I wanted to own that. And then I also, after I finished, I did get placed in a couple of jobs. One was HMM at that time, or Hindustan Milk Foods, Horlicks, which then became GlaxoSmithKline.
Yes,
etc.
yes.
And also Nestle's called me for that.
So,
The final short, I was shortlisted.
okay.
But my father did not allow me to. He's saying, when we have our own business, why should you look elsewhere? And that's how it is. When I joined 1981 July, we finished in May or something, all our exams and everything. And July 1981, I joined Wakefield.
So I was going through the journey of Wakefield. So it started in 1956. So can you give us an idea in terms of how that journey was, and it will be beneficial for our viewers?
So this is my late father's autobiography, on his 80th birthday, and it's a very fascinating story about how he actually took over my grandfather's shop, auctioneering shop in Rawalpindi, Pakistan, and he my grandfather first was in the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, but he survived that in 1919. But then he died in 1942, very early, and he was only 42 years of age. And then my father took over his shop at age 15. 15 years of age, he was the head of the family because he was the eldest. My grandmother was there and his younger brothers and sisters looked after them. But then from 1942 to 1947, he made that shop, Malhotra Grand Auction Mart, into one of the largest department stores in Rawalpindi. And sheer dint of hard work, basic common sense, and a complete drive. He was an amazing, he had an amazing drive to get things done. And my grandmother died in 1946 of cancer. So it was, he was an orphan at age 90. But he took care of all the family members. And 47 happened sub-zero again. Whatever he had done, and he had done so well. From they used to be living in a rented house. We bought that. He rebuilt it. The shop he renovated. He bought another. He was always fond of the hill station. So there was on Murray hill station. There he bought a place to, So he did really well, and everything became zero. He came actually penniless because he went to drop my bua, his sister, to the station. It was a military train, and my bua just caught hold of him and said, "I'm not leaving you." Because it was September of 1947, and there was complete mayhem. Hindus were being slaughtered. And my father said, "Nothing doing. I'll die, but I'll take 10 Muslims with me." So that was his attitude. But then my bua just caught her and I'm not leaving. So actually he went to drop her, and then he just was forced to get onto the train. And that train never came back. He never came back. Only came back 40 years later, almost to the day. He, my mother, my uncle and my aunt, they went to attend Benari's Bhutto's wedding. They were invited. That's another story. And then he started off, and he had no money, So he literally borrowed from his relatives who had managed to transfer funds from Pakistan. And he found his way into Pune, because first he thought he'll do something in Delhi, so all his cousins and his uncles and aunt had seen the smart, he was a young smart boy, in Pakistan. So they each wanted, "You come, we'll start something, you join us," and the other is, "No, you join us," He says, if he says, "Yes, I'll join you," and the other one will get upset. He joined him, they said, "Forget it. Niklo yahan se." So he got out of there and he came to Bombay. Didn't like it, did some trading and all that, Didn't like Bombay. So he said, "Cholo, I'll go back to Pune. I'll go back to Delhi." And then at the station he met this guy. He was standing in line to buy a ticket. So he met this guy who said, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Pune." And "Where are you from?" Rawalpindi. So when he said it was a cantonment, so then he took the train, the King Queen, right, on 13th November 1947, right? And in 3 days, he had rented a shop, set up a business, and even made a profit. In 3 days, a man comes for the first time into a city. So then, so he had a shop on Main Street, which is called Pindi General Store, very appropriately named. And but that didn't do too well. So actually, from 48th January, 30th January 1948, he got married to my mother.
Oh.
That was the same day that Mahatma Gandhi got assassinated.
Oh.
It was so 7 years, how is it? 48 to 56, 8 years. It's a very tough year, very tough. He says that he had a bike, even bike he could not afford. Bike meaning mobile. Then he moved to a cycle. Things were so bad. Because he was looking after his 2 brothers, his sister, and he's married. So tough days. So what happened was that the shop wasn't making enough money. I remember him telling me once, at times there were days when the total sale was 2 rupees.
Oh.
2 rupees. I mean, profit uska 50 paisa hota. Imagine. So, but he carried on, but he said this is not enough. So then they started, buying wholesale goods and from the army lots and all that, and a lot of them were food items, and then selling them in retail.
Okay.
And a lot of them were wholesale in the sense they were products which are nearing expiry.
Okay.
So therefore he got it very cheap.
Got it.
Because people wanted to get rid of them.
Correct.
But he then sold them at a price. So he then my uncle, my chacha, he got involved in the selling part.
Okay.
And traveled all over the country selling to missionaries, to schools, hospitals. One of the products that came out was a custard powder.
Okay.
Which he was selling. So my uncle brought that one packet. They used to sell that. They brought one tin home in the house. And my mother made that pudding from custard. Everyone loved it, They said, yeah, achhi cheez hai. So my father was a dynamic guy. He said, chalo, let's start. Let's do find out how we can make it. Then here, luckily, we have the National Chemical Laboratory.
Yes.
So went there, did some research. And my father had to drop out of school because of my grandfather dying suddenly. But he just had that basic. My chacha also had just done matriculate, as they used to call it.
Okay.
And then he went and they saw the reverse engineering. They hit upon a formula, tried it out. Luckily, because of those sale that they were doing of in the lot, they had some good contact with the army and this thing.
Yes.
So they managed to then do the experiments of the product in the FMCG lab.
Okay.
Armed Forces. And all that, and then it came. So started with custard powder, corn flour, and baking powder. And that's how the journey started.
Began.
And named it Wakefield.
So what was the idea behind
the name? Very interesting. So a lot of people think it's some foreign collaboration, foreign sounding. So this was a little smart move my dad did. He said, look, these are Western oriented products. They're not spices or dal chawal or. I need to have some Western sounding name. Otherwise people will not like. You could have called it Malhotra custard or Hindustan or something. Then he was walking in Ballard Estate, and there's a heritage home building called Wakefield House, still there. Wakefi in a Jain Iridium mark. Wakefi. Yeah, he said, I like the name, but I can't copy it directly.
Correct.
We just tweak the spelling.
Okay.
That was very smart, very smart.
Understood.
Yeah.
So, and who are the target audience in terms of which demographic Wakefield is targeting? Are they the kids or the young adults?
See, you're talking then or now?
Now.
Yeah. So there are products, we have different categories. I'll just give you where we are today.
Yes.
So we operate in 5 categories.
Okay.
One is the dessert mixes. Second is the bakery and bakery products and ingredients.
Okay.
Third is the pasta and pasta sauces category. Fourth is the sauces and condiments, ketchups and sauces. And fifth is the what do you call beverages.
Okay.
Drinking chocolate,
Chocolate, yeah.
and organic green tea.
Yes,
Okay.
eco-valley.
We actually have one more, but there's a different company called
Okay.
the mushroom. We are the largest mushroom producer,
Oh,
fresh mushroom, and the Eco Valley brand.
okay.
We do 10 tons a day.
Okay.
So, but that is a different. That's an agri commodity. It's got a
Yes.
different. So these are the say. So now each category has different target audiences.
Correct.
Right. Now custard powder, corn flour, baking powder. I would say even drinking chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Cocoa. They are all slightly older crowd, meaning you're talking of 30 plus.
Okay.
But jelly is a kids product.
Um,
Pastas again are kids and older, but a lot of kids love having pasta.
correct.
So now organic green tea is an older person.
Yes.
It's not a kids product.
Correct.
Now we have a ready-to-eat custard. Right, this one. Now this we are targeting the younger lot, not the kids, but the young kids like you.
Yes.
Because it's convenient. You just shell it, cut it, open it, and have it.
Yes.
So this is so
Correct.
this is our target audience. So we have at all levels. Primarily, it's the woman,
Okay.
right? Who is the I would say a woman 25 plus, and kids. But what we are trying to do, and we are going ahead in targeting the younger girl, call it a younger woman or younger man. Okay. Even the boys have started being the coke.
Yeah.
The idea being the younger you catch them, the
More
longer they are your consumers. Right?
Correct. Correct.
It's better to catch them when they are 20
Yes.
and suppose they live up to 80. You know, you have 60 years versus 30 to 80. Which is 40
Correct.
years.
So, and typically, how do you reach out to your target audience? Like, what are the digital channels which you use?
Yeah.
For example, I guess the jelly one, you are partnering with Doraemon for that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what is the
We
distribution?
also have a Paytm. We have a tie-up with Paytm.
Okay.
You get a reduction.
Discount. Okay.
So, not discount, you get a Paytm, you can use
Okay. Coupon.
that one coupon.
Yeah.
No, so as far as the media channels are concerned, we used to and we still do at times the traditional channels, like even TV channels which we've done for, but the kiddies channels,
Okay.
the Disney and all that stuff. We do hoardings, we do some print advertising, especially when you launch a new product. Print is very effective, and hoardings. In the social media, yes, we are doing Instagram, we're doing all Facebook, we're in everything, and
Yes.
we do a lot of influencer campaigns that we do. We have influencers.
Yes.
We also tied up with chefs
Yes.
who recommend our product and the recipes. So that's a very focused and directed approach.
Okay. So.
And just to tell you,
Okay.
earlier on the traditional media was say 100%.
Okay.
Now that is 20-80% is the social media.
Okay. The contribution has changed recently. And since the company has now 5 product portfolios, so
categories.
5 categories. So whenever you are introducing a new category, what are the factors which you look for? Do you look for the total addressable market, or what is the rationale behind venturing into a specific category?
So one I told you is it should target the
Okay.
younger lot.
Okay.
Right? We don't want to now come out with a product which targets 50-year-olds.
Correct.
The other is that the world as well as India is slowly but surely moving on a ready-to-eat format.
Correct.
अभी आप लोगों को time ही नहीं मिलता to do things. You want to quick fix. Now QCOM is an example why it's gone crazy. Because people don't have I don't know where the hell they spend their time, but that's a different story. But the question is, so therefore, in fact, this is an example of ready to,
Yes.
it's a ready to eat. This is also an instant custard where you just
Yes.
mix it with milk. So that's we are slowly but surely moving toward that direction
Okay.
of having more ready to eat products,
Mhm.
right? Fortunately, which for us in this country, which wasn't the case even as recent as 10 years ago,
Mhm.
the cold chain has come of age.
Okay.
Now the cold chain is quite good. Not, I would not say anywhere near the West, but it's much better than it was earlier.
Yes.
You have good refrigerated vans moving around. Every decent outlet, has got a refrigerator, chiller, so it can go literally you can go from cold to cold.
Yes.
So that's the
strategy. And
of course, sorry.
yeah.
Of course, new product development continues, right?
Correct.
So new variants. Now we just introduced a banana custard powder,
Okay.
right? So those are just a new flavor, right? Jelly, we've got a kacha mango,
Okay.
jelly, chili guava, all these things. So those will go on. Those will continue to target the
Niche.
older lot, but we are again looking at those flavors which will attract the new. Now, only problem is that you still have to make it that old way.
Correct.
Okay, so that may deter them, but at least the flavor might attract them. Now we're looking at a cappuccino custard, for instance.
Yes.
So that's it.
So, and also the FMCG industry requires a robust supply chain, and since it is a perishable food, so how do you tackle in terms of how do you manage your supply chain operation parts?
Very, very critical part of our business. We have a full supply chain department with a HOD who reports directly to me on the supply chain front. Because being food products,
Yes.
and especially more so now that as we move from 2-year shelf products to 3 months, 6 months,
Yes.
you have to be that much more nimble-footed, that much more faster,
Correct.
right, from start to finish,
Correct.
as a farm to fork.
Yes.
So therefore, we are focused on getting the product at the right place, at the right time, at the right cost.
Okay.
So we take it very, very seriously.
Okay. So, what are the biggest challenges that you have faced till now in your journey of the Wakefield, and in the pandemic as well? How did you manage the business during that phase? You can share with us.
Firstly, you may have noticed that my T-shirt has changed.
Yes.
Earlier on, at the first episode, I was wearing the Wakefield T-shirt with the yellow and red, and now I'm wearing the good old, my proud, alma mater's T-shirt, Bajaj Alumni. Okay, coming to your question. Firstly, the pandemic was actually good for us. One of the few companies who benefited from the pandemic, because what happened was that everyone was at home.
Correct.
And they all wanted to cook at home. And I wanted to only buy those brands who they were familiar with or used to.
Yes.
And a lot of home baking was happening. So our cocoa powder, baking powder was shot up in sale.
Okay.
Custard powder, people were having, when one is up to nothing, or in fact, a lot of people were bordering on depression because it was such a terrible situation.
Correct.
And so they indulge, especially in sweet things.
Yes.
So we were there at the right time. So that was in fact, what happened was that we had a different. If you see maybe in some of our older brochures, we had a different whole packing. Just before COVID, we had come out with this new, the red and yellow branding and architecture. And so that made it very easy for the product, because the old pack got cleared very quickly off the shelves because the sale went up. And so this easily, they replaced. We were lucky that it happened that way.
Okay.
And so that was one. What was the other question about? One was pandemic. How did we manage? And then
biggest challenge that you have faced so far in terms of your managing your business.
So I guess the biggest challenge is for us as we speak and has been in the past. I told you earlier that we want to migrate from a 2-year shelf life products. Pastas are 2 years, custard, corn flour are 2 years, to a 3 to 6 month
Okay.
shelf life. But that is a big challenge because, firstly, the whole ecosystem, the whole mindset of our people is not used to that. You know,
Correct.
हाँ ठीक है 2 साल का प्रोडक्ट है चलो प्रोड्यूस करेंगे थोड़ा देर अपने फिनिश गुड गोडाउन में भी रखने तो कुछ नहीं होता देन डिपो में रखेंगे चले नो नथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट ठैक 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 इट शुड मूव at the speed of lightning.
Correct.
Right? That we are finding a challenge because, in fact, this is a 9-month product,
Okay.
right? And also the other problem is, another challenge is that modern trade, that is Reliance, More, all these things, they don't accept any product which has got less than 70% of shelf life.
Oh.
If the shelf life is 9 months, that is 270 days, 270 into 0.7. Right? If it goes below that, they don't accept. So, therefore, that means that you're actually having a window of only 30%
30%.
of 9 months or whatever
Yes.
that is, right? So you really have to move fast, and the ready to eat products will sell more in, and e-com is also the same. E-commerce
Yes.
also has the same rule in these two channels, and less in GT because GT, Kirana stores, some of the larger supermarkets and all that they are okay. But majority they don't, because this ready to eat thing, visibility is very important.
Correct.
And that modern trade gives you. You go to these large shelves and all that stuff. And e-com, so you click on the thing and you see the product. So that is something that we are finding a challenge. And we are grappling with it. We are trying to this thing, because in fact we were moving ahead with a whole range of other ready-to-eat desserts. This was one, and then in a cup form, jellies and puddings and all that.
Okay.
I put a hold to it for the time being because till I'm confident that my people, most important is my people, should be able to understand and adapt themselves to the new system.
And so nowadays many FMCG companies are moving to the Q-commerce side. Like many FMCG companies are trying to double their sales. Like initially HUL had 2% of its sales coming from the Q-commerce, which they have doubled.
Q-commerce or e-commerce overall?
Q-commerce.
Q-com to abhi recent
yes,
phenomena hai. But e-commerce is also all, which is not necessarily Q.
Yes.
Q-commerce means 10-20 minutes mein delivery. E-com can be a day too, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So in the Q-commerce space, are you finding any white space where your product can, like, are you?
No, we are there. We have grown exponentially in e-commerce.
Okay.
Our fastest growing channel amongst the 3 is e-commerce.
Okay.
And we are, and now as of the last few months, Q-com within e-commerce is the fastest.
Okay. And
Are we adapting to it?
Are they repeat customers or they are like one-time customers?
No, repeat.
Okay.
See, one thing you must appreciate, and we are fortunate and lucky, is that in our most of our categories, except perhaps pasta, where you have some other larger players, we are the market leaders.
Okay.
So, in dessert mixes, we are the market.
Yes.
Bakery product, custard, baking, corn flour, jelly, and drinking chocolate, cocoa, all the other.
Okay.
So that makes it easier.
Got it.
Then the repeat customer.
So, and when you are hiring someone for any kind of role, what are the attributes that you look for in a potential candidate?
So one of the most important attributes we look for is someone who has worked within constraints.
Okay.
Therefore, while we do like someone who has initially worked in a multinational, be it Lever, Nestle, Britannia, any of these, but his or her last 5 or 10 years should be in a smaller company,
Okay.
Indian owned, family owned, right? And who has had constraints of resources. See, the multinationals have huge resources.
Correct.
Not only, even if their own resources dry up for whatever reason, HUL or thing, but they have access to that, their principals,
Yes.
their head office in USA or Europe. Indian multinationals don't. So we like those kind of people. So that is something, because then we know that this man or woman has really and survived and succeeded. Has come out of that thing in whichever way. And so that means they got the resilience.
Got it. And as a new entrepreneur who is trying to launch his own food product, so what will be the advice which you will give to such an entrepreneur? Like, what are the...
In fact, I would give this advice to all entrepreneurs, not necessarily in the food.
Okay.
First thing is, my father used to always say, कि बेटा अपने चादर में खेलो. Don't spread yourself too thin.
Okay.
Grow gradually. Right? But whatever you do it perfectly and do it profitably. अगर धंधा करना है तो प्रॉफिट के लिए होता है. अगर वो आप समझ नहीं आती तो धंधा नहीं करो, नौकरी करो. So this is something that I would advise. The same thing, that do not fall into this trap. Unfortunately, it is a trap of easy money, quick money. This valuation business, right? And because then what happens is, when you are only looking at valuation, and unfortunately there are huge examples where you make huge losses but the value is going up.
Correct.
That is something that some people say that it works, because
Correct.
people are buying, but ultimately the bubble will burst. So you have to be very careful, and best to do things gradually. Take limited debt if you have to take. Right? Take limited equity also. From outside, of course.
Yes.
Your own equity is always there, and move step by step.
Okay.
Take one. If you're, say, if it's as you said, it's a food product. Take on first, only test out the product in one city, I would say, not even a state.
Okay.
Then move to a state, then move to a zone, then move to the country.
Okay.
And profit is important. That is the most key. It could be that initially you don't make profit because you're spending on advertising, etc., which is fine, But end goal is that if that advertising is not working, then fail fast. I learned this concept when I did a course in Stanford in the US.
Okay.
Fail fast. Okay? अगर fail होना ही है तो जल्दी करो और get out of it so that you cut your losses.
So, are there any examples in terms of you experience a failure during the Wakefield journey? Like, you might have thought of this product might work, but it didn't.
Oh yeah. There have been, in FMCG or in food,
Yes.
1 in 16 products succeeds.
Yes.
15 fail.
Correct.
So we can't say that we have been not successful, right? We have had our many failures, even right way back. In fact, when I was seeing the list of all the products that my father had introduced in the 50s and 60s, I think only 50% of them are still there. 50% have disappeared.
Yes.
Some just get, they get involved. The market has moved.
Correct.
The concept is no more any.
So, and now many people are becoming health conscious. So they are looking for healthy ingredients and less sugar and those kind of stuff. So in order to cater to this specific cohort, what are the products which you are planning to, like Eco Valley, I guess?
So we have 3 brands.
Yes.
Wakefield, which is the taste oriented.
Yes.
I cannot say that it is totally healthy. It will not be correct on my part to say that.
Yes.
Eco Valley, like the Chef's Basket, the one. This one. This is the price fighter, the more for institutions, and it's a lower price item.
Hmm.
And then we have the eco value. So there's the oats there,
Okay.
organic green tea, and a mushroom. Mushroom is also a very healthy product.
Yes.
They are so far the 3 products that we have in this range, which is a healthy product.
So in mushroom, are you like just selling it or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We sell 10 tons a day
Oh.
in Pune. We used to sell a lot in Bombay, but then the price became unprecedented because there are a lot of small farms around Bombay. So we could not compete in the pricing.
Okay.
So now Bangalore, we do around 5 or 6 tons a day, we sell.
Mm-hmm.
Hyderabad around 1 ton,
Mm-hmm.
and rest Pune. And Bombay 500 kilos.
So do you export as well? Like which are the products do you export?
So we started off that unit as an export oriented in canned form.
Okay.
It goes for the pizza.
Oh yes.
So, but then that we stopped because it makes no sense to do fresh.
Yes.
Because then there's no process loss and all that. So we do a little bit of, we sell in barrels, 200 liter barrels, mushroom, which goes to which those become the raw materials for guys in America who make, these salads. So mushroom dal ke uske andar dill and vinegar and all, which for cocktail, you can have it.
Yes.
They sell it like that.
Understood. And sir, like the idea for Wakefield has been to bring exotic food items which are popular in outside country to Indian landscape. But are there any plans to take the Indian
Yeah. So
food items?
we are as our core of values. It's international. You read that?
Trustworthy customer focus.
No, the last one.
Delighted consumers with international.
International cuisine, right? So that's our main. Even pasta is an international.
Yes.
Almost every product was it. But we are looking because we see that there is a huge demand. In fact, for instance, now Faluda. It's not an international, right? But that is selling very well. So that's given us. But what we will do is that we will probably brand it with a different brand.
Okay.
A more Indian something brand.
Okay.
Ulta of what my father did.
So we will end this segment for today and we will come up with the next segment soon.